Hello and welcome to Valley News Now. I'm joined once again by our meteorologist, Lisa Green. Lisa, it's like that James Taylor song. We were talking about fire last time. Now we're talking about a little bit of rain. Oh, yeah, there's the classic.
I've seen fire, I've seen rain.
Yes, and we've seen some droughts, but we saw the rain, so now a little drought update.
Yes, so some really good news. So each week, the U.S. Drought Monitor comes out with an update on drought conditions, where they've improved, where they've worsened. So our latest update came out this week, and we've got some great news. Essentially, with all of the rain that we've seen, it's pretty much erased the drought that we've had in the valley. So here's a look at the latest. You can see most places don't even have drought going on. There's just one little sliver up around Lake of the Woods, the Red Lake area, where we're seeing what is considered abnormally dry conditions, the lowest class of drought. Huge improvements there. Now I'm going to go back and look back the last 3 months where we were when we start, excuse me, this is last week too, just a little comparison. We've improved since last week. Now let's go back the last 3 months. And you can see a huge difference. Almost the entire valley was under drought back in March, early March. And you can see some of us were even classified in severe drought. So Northern Valley and over to the east. We went into winter season a little bit on the dry side. And then winter was just so dry. Remember, we didn't have a lot of snow. It was warm.
Hardly any, yeah. It was very mild winter.
Very, very mild and dry. That led to concerns about fire. We were having early season wildfires. The growing season hadn't started yet, so all that dry vegetation was just there for the picking, essentially, for any fires that started. So that was a big concern just a few months ago. And now, again, we've completely erased it. Just to look back again at our current drought situation, almost completely gone. So that's the good news. I know we're feeling a little waterlogged right now, but this is the good side of things by having that drought removed.
Now I have a question for you. Is this an abnormality for the water cycle itself? Because I felt like you said, it was a very dry winter, and it wasn't even that cold. That's probably a different story. But all of a sudden, it just seems like torrential downpour after torrential downpour these last few weeks.
Yeah, it's not very usual that we come out of a drought that quickly. One of the things that we say in the weather and climate world is drought creates more drought. Once you get into a drought, it's pretty hard to get out of it. It takes a while, but not this time. We've seen that pattern shift, and we've ended up with all of these rains lately, and that coincides with that transition out of El Nino. We've been in El Nino. That really strongly influenced our winter. So over the winter we were warmer, and that led to less snow as well. But now we're starting to transition to La Nina, so that may be likely is influencing some of the changes and the more active weather that we've seen recently with the rains. So that's contributing, and as we make that transition further into a more neutral, eventually to La Nina, we'll see some changes into the summer season too. We're going to talk about that coming up. But I do want to look back because, I mean, this is pretty incredible here. So this is a look at the year so far, each month, where we've been as far as precipitation, and this is for Fargo. And these numbers highlighted in brown here for January, February, March, that's the measured precipitation, including melted snowfall. And that's the brown because it's below average. So we were running below average for each month, January, February, March. And then the spigot turned on here, and we saw April suddenly pick up a lot of rain. And May especially was a big month, and that has really more than made up for that deficit. So this little star here is just to show you that this is so far in June. So this is not the total.
And just started.
Yes.
Just started. Yeah, we're already on pace for substantial rainfall here.
You're right. Yeah, we're only a week in. We got 3 more weeks to go here. So average is about 3/4 of an inch of precipitation, and we're at about 1 3/4 inches, so over an inch above average here. And just to note also, for the year, we're at about 3.6 inches above average. So we made up for that deficit in a matter of, we went back and looked at the 3-month change on the drought, but it was really the last 2 months that have been the most impactful here. So just to take a look at May, because May was a big month for us here. For Fargo, we just looked at that 5.92. That was almost double what the average is for the month of May. And then in Grand Forks too, that was an area that saw quite a bit of rain as well. This is at the National Weather Service climate site. We saw almost 2 inches above average rainfall for May. And it wasn't, again, just those 2 locations. We saw average May rainfall throughout the basin above average. At least Jamestown was close to 1 inch above average, but everywhere else that we're checking in with here, 1 inch to 3+ inches above average. Look at Cavalier, 3.11, so over 3 inches above average just for the month of May. Sorry if I'm blocking this a little bit here. So again, it's been a soggy May. April started it, and we've been making up for it ever since. So want to talk about what we may be seeing coming up?
Absolutely.
Sure.
I mean, I hope that things get a little drier. I just want to get out on my bicycle.
It'd just be nice to level things off. To go from one extreme to the next can be tough on both sides of things here.
Sure.
So it'd be nice to kind of reach equilibrium.
Find a little balance here, perhaps?
Yeah. So what we're looking at on this map is the 3-month precipitation outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. So this includes this month, June through August. So essentially the summer months. And where you see the colors on the map, it's just like what you would think. Green means more likely chance for precipitation. Brown means less likely chance for, I should say, above average precipitation. So this looks like we're going to be pretty dry over in the high plains and into the Rockies there, into the summertime months. Now, the Red River Valley, we don't have any color over us here. And that's because there's no strong signal for either above or below average precipitation for the season. It means that we have equal chances of above or below average.
So finding that balance we're talking about, basically.
If this pans out, right now the way the climate situation is setting up, it looks like we might be right in that average range, which would be a good thing. We're still getting the rainfall to help with our crops and our gardens and keeping that grass green, but not maybe soaking our grass. I know a lot of folks have some standing water in their yards, so it'd be good to get some of that drained out. So that's the precip outlook, and if you're curious about the temperature as well, you can see we're kind of in a little bubble where we're not looking at necessarily a strong chance for above average summer temperatures, just kind of right around average. So we'll see how that pans out too. So right now, with that transition to La Nina, a good part of the country is more likely to see above average summer temperatures, but right here, kind of right in that range. So I did want to take a look at, if you're wondering what's going to happen here in the coming days, this is the 10-day rainfall precipitation potential. So this looks like a lot, but this is over the course of more than a week. We're looking at right now with an active pattern still going, but not as intense as what we've seen. We're looking at a lot of areas in this yellow category, which is that 1 to 2 inch range over the course of 10 days. Of course, this could shift a little bit, but it kind of gives you an idea of what's coming our way. Still getting that rainfall, but not getting it all in one day necessarily.
Sure, a little more spread out.
Right. We've had some rainfall events where we've had more than 4 inches of rain with one event, and that's a lot, way too much in just a short period of time. So if we can spread that out, that's a good thing.
Excellent. Excellent. And is that all we got for the moment?
Yeah, just kind of keeping an eye on things. It's nice to make up for the drought that we were in and not go into summer in drought. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Now we just need to kind of calm down a little bit with that rain and not get those big rainfall events like we've seen.
And, we talked about standing water.
Yes.
With standing water, unfortunately, comes mosquitoes.
Everybody's favorite thing in the summertime.
And so don't go anywhere on Valley News Now. Our Courtney Lockie has been doing our homework for us and learning about what the mosquito situation is, and she's going to be right back after this quick break with us to break that down. Stay with us on Valley News Now.